coming to take over. I'm the new champion of STOL, and I'm here to stay.
Welcome to National STOL. We've been traveling all over the country this year, and today we're kicking off another day of competition in Washington State. The first time the circuit has come up to the Pacific Northwest here in Moses Lake. This is our fourth stop on the 2024 circuit, and we've been touring America with our elite cadre of bush pilots. If you're new here to National STOL, it's all about taking off short and, of course, landing short. We're competing on 44-year-old volcanic eruption ash from Mount St. Helens here at the air show. Yesterday in the howling winds, we saw some of the shortest takeoffs and landings of the season. This is National STOL Moses Lake 2024. And welcome everybody to Moses Lake here in Washington State. My name's Ryan Dombrowski. This
and
guy right here.
I'm Coy Robin. Hey, Ryan, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's
Oh
Day.
my gosh.
Yeah, we're both dads. We're here. We're doing some dad stuff, hanging out with our STOL children.
Yes, having
Our
fun
STOL
here in
kids.
Moses Lake. Beautiful conditions this morning, Ryan. Let's talk a little bit about what's going to be different today versus yesterday based on the conditions.
Well, the conditions today, you said, are beautiful. We would call it CAVU in the pilot speak, right? We've got clear, severe clear everywhere, not a cloud in the sky, and the winds are almost minimal, almost zero, right? We've got almost no wind over those flags. Yesterday was stark contrast.
Yeah, we had some interesting wins. In fact, Jeff Daly, who put in the best scores of the day yesterday, told me that when he was sitting on the line at a complete stop, he was indicating 27 on his airspeed indicator at a complete stop. And so that is a testament to how fierce the winds were yesterday. And today is going to be a stark contrast to that, but perfect for a beautiful air show here in Moses Lake, Washington.
Yeah, a lot of our hearts kind of go out to the folks at the show here yesterday getting blasted by the wind, just enduring it for all the fun to be had in the sky. And it was amazing to watch everyone just have a blast despite the winds. Here's one thing I'll say. Beautiful conditions today to watch an air show, beautiful conditions to fly. If you're a STOL pilot, which you are, maybe you want a little more nose on the wind, a little more wind on the nose.
You know, for a competition you do, but these are the kind of conditions you'd want for the backcountry, though. So today is going to be the kind of day that is actual. So we're going to see these pilots flying more closely than reality, because if you're in a canyon, if you're in the wild, the last thing you want is big howling winds. And so today you're actually going to be able to see more realistic views as to what these airplanes are capable of. So what that really means, what I'm really trying to say is these takeoffs and landings are going to be a little bit longer without that assist from Mother Nature with that prevailing wind. So that's going to be a lot of fun. The temperatures are nice and low, though, so the airplanes are going to perform very, very well. The engines, density, altitude's nice and low. It's just going to be so much fun to watch these guys in a calm environment.
It's going to be calm, but still quite exciting in the air. We are going to kick off today with what we've done for today here at Sunday at the Moses Lake Airshow is we've combined some of our classes together to make sure you get just more flying action. So we're going to see a combination of two classes in the first heat. We'll have the touring class and the sport class. Let's learn more about those and the people that fly in there right now.
My name is John Douglas. I'm from Pinedale, Wyoming. I fly a 64 model Cessna 182 G model. She's a little ugly, but she's a good airplane. She performs well, and we've had it for a few years. We've got our third or fourth competition. The dust gave us a little bit of problem, but they spaced us out a little bit more, so it gave us more room, and the dust cleared. One of the hardest things is seeing that little white line, because it keeps disappearing. So one time I missed it in practice yesterday just because I thought it was there and it wasn't there. It's like, oh, that line's not there. It's up over there. So I scratched really bad. But we do this for fun. I like competing, and my wife and I, we do the Rocky Mountain STOL in Pinedale, and we come out and promote and have fun. And about 2 years ago, guys came up to me and said, "Oh, aren't you a pilot?" I was like, "Yeah, I am." Says, "Then why aren't you competing?" It's like, "Oh, okay." I'll start competing. And it just rolled into this, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. And I was always surprised my last landing on practice days was 119 feet. I've never landed an airplane that short. So we're hoping for a good win today and a good time. And a good time with the crowd. So it's a lot of fun.
Paxton Prentice. This is 182 from Ephrata. Just trying not to bend some metal. Maybe we get second. Yesterday the practice was windy and dusty. Runway was dust over. I had to go around twice. Couldn't see the other planes, so that was interesting. Cheer me on in Little Guac.
My name's Alan Hewitt. I'm flying this classic old 172. It's a 1957 model. They call it a straight tail. You know, it's docile, it's easy to fly, and it works well. And I guess I'm probably considered the slow Hewitt out of the bunch. Maybe not slow, but you know, it's underpowered and underperformance, but I have a good time in it. Practice was trying. We had some good strong winds, and every time you lined up to the line, you had dust that was blowing in your face. The wind was strong, but we've got a nice flat area out here, and the winds were coming in pretty regular. So you had a good, if you could use the wind, it was good for you. Today, like I've said before, if I don't come in last, I'm a winner. And if I come in last, I had fun anyhow. So, you know, I'd like to do the best I can, but I'm here to have fun. That's about it. Now, I'd like to thank my wife for joining me this time. She doesn't get to see me fly, and I think it opened her eyes up a little bit about just what I can do with this airplane. So, and I'm glad to have my brother and my nephew here also. It's nice to come to a place and kind of have your own team. So they're a lot of help to me, and I couldn't do it without them.
Hi, my name's Rod Hewitt from Auburn, Washington. I'm the new front man of STOL. Yesterday went great. Very windy, very gusty. Was still able to get the shortest landing. Beat my old man by a foot. He happens to be the world's greatest CFI II. He's got all the ratings in the world. I'm coming here, and I'm coming to take over. I'm the new champion of STOL competitions, and I'm here to stay. Where's your enthusiasm? They say hi to my beautiful wife, Kelsey Hewitt. She's our team manager. She happens to be the most gorgeous pilot ever invented, and I'm so proud of her. And I just love you, honey, so much. And next year she'll be out here. She weighs a whopping 105, 110, so with her in this thing, she'll be unstoppable. Steve Henry won't be able to touch her. Neither will that snowflake from Canada who flies that cheating, juiced up, I don't even know what you call that. Whatever that souped up ultralight thing is, it's just cheating. Not a fan of that thing. Anyways, a little disappointed that Steve Henry and the snowflake from Canada got a little scared because he found out the Hewitt boys were going to be here. Can't wait to go head to head against those guys. Woo! Who's the new front man of STOL? This guy, Rod Hewitt. Here to bring the enthusiasm. Where's your enthusiasm, America? We're flying airplanes in the greatest country in the world. National STOL. Woo!
We
such a great piece.
spent a lot of time with Rod and his family this weekend, and they are a blast. And Rod is that enthusiastic about flying and life all the time. I don't know. I mean, he says he's the new champion. I think some of the other folks are going to have to try to compete with him. Yesterday, we did have a new champion, though. We should talk about that in the wind. Won't be here flying today, but Jeff Daly won for the books. Combined score of 31 feet in a brand new aircraft called the Badlands Traveler that's kind of shaken up the competitive STOL world. And Rod came in with a similarly impressive score, around 60 some odd feet combined in his class. And his dad, who you're going to see fly today as well, in I think it was like 56 feet, 58 feet.
It was really impressive.
Really short.
Yeah. You know, and today we're going to see some really impressive flying as well. I'm really excited to go into the heavies again and see John Douglas in that beautiful 182 and Paxton Prentice and his flight instructor.
Yeah, we're gonna
in their 182.
see Danielle there. Let's look at the touring and sport classes together here at the Moses Lake Airshow. You're going to see John Douglas in a 1964 Cessna 182, Paxton Prentice in the 1975 Cessna 182, Mike Council in 1946 Piper PA-12. It's a super cruiser. Rod Hewitt is going to be flying that 2000 Rands S7, the Angry Kitten. Also at the controls, they're going to swap midway through. Stephen Hewitt in that 2000 Rands S7. Father and son competing yesterday. Father won, maybe for early Father's Day present. We'll see what happens between the two of them today. And then Danielle Dunlap, who's going to be flying in Paxton's plane in that 1975 Cessna 182. So that's your touring and sport classes here at Moses Lake 2024.
Ooh, I'm really actually excited to see Danielle fly in the green and white same airplane, Lil Guac, that Paxton was flying yesterday. That'll be really fun to see.
And Danielle was flying with Paxton yesterday as his instructor, or his flight instructor, and we asked her, we're like, well, what are you doing in there? And she's like, well, like I work the flaps for him, and then I give him some advice. Well, now I'm excited to see what she can do because she's the teacher and he's the student. It's going to be really cool
absolutely.
to see.
So, Ryan, tell me what else is different about today versus yesterday. Are there points being tallied? Does this count for the national circuit, or is this more of a playtime?
I think that it's more playtime. We are going to score. We're going to score the runs so everyone can get everything in context. We had the formal competition for the 2024 season at yesterday's show in here in Moses Lake. So the trophies have already been given out. All the glory was there to be had. And today we're here to have fun. We're going to see some stuff a little bit later today. We've got the backcountry class. You've got Tegan LaPointe and John Jughead Council. They had a grudge match yesterday. I think it's continuing over into today. They're still smack talking each other. But John Council came up and said to us right before the show, he said, hey, since it's an exhibition, in my runs, I'm going to show you varied kinds of takeoffs. We're going to start with like a standard book takeoff and work our way up to a competitive takeoff based on various bush flying conditions. Corey and I will walk you through that when you see it, but that'll be kind of neat to see.
Yeah, it really will. I'm looking forward to the exhibition style today, and I think that's something that I'd like to, highlight and showcase, that these guys, it's not necessarily competition mode, so these pilots are really going to have an opportunity to showcase the capabilities of the aircraft and maybe do some steeper approaches, maybe do some forward slips to landing, and those kinds of things. Now, not all pilots are going to do that. It's the more showy pilots, like John Jughead Council. So that'll be a lot of fun, and so I'm looking forward to that today. I'm also looking forward to not having so much dust.
Yes, Ryan. That's going to be huge. So I think we're still going to get a fair amount of dust, but it'll be significantly less than yesterday. So we talked about it in the opening package. The runway that we have here in Moses Lake is carved out like next to the runway here. It's been made just for us at National STOL. What you see in front of it is actually like a fabric runway for RC aircraft that are performing at the show. And so our runway there in the dirt, it's actually volcanic ash from 44 years ago. Mount St. Helens erupted here in Washington State, deposited. John Council said he lived here, grew up here in Moses Lake, 3 inches of ash on the ground.
I was looking into it, actually, and Moses Lake got the most of it. They had the most volcanic ash of anywhere else. And so literally 3.5 inches at the top of the surface of this earth is volcanic ash belched from the center of Mount St. Helens herself.
And so I love it. Every time you say that, I love that. So what that means, though, for the pilots, right, is that we have a unique surface. It means a lot of dust. The fire department here at the airport has been out dumping water. I think you said yesterday, Corey, was like 1,000 gallons.
Yes. Yep.
1,000 gallons of water yesterday to prepare. I think we've got water laid down today as well. It helps. During practice on Friday, it was near instrument conditions. Sometimes people had to go around waiting for the ash to clear. We've worked to mitigate that. But without the howling winds today, hopefully it'll be a little bit better. The other thing I'll add is I was talking to the pilots at the dinner last night the little pilot celebration awards dinner, and they said that they prefer, just put it in your AvGeek knowledge book, everyone seemed to prefer competing on volcanic ash than turf or grass.
Yeah, I was talking to the pilots, and the braking efficacy, the effectiveness of the brakes was actually really a good balance. You know, pilots were telling me they were able to actually land with the brakes completely locked, and the volcanic ash would just give the perfect amount of give to balance that, non-nose over scenario. That, it is a delicate balance when you're landing these aircraft, and it takes quite a bit of skill, and the surface is always a factor. And we've seen that at events like Sodbusters or in Hartford, where we're landing on grass. It's a lot more slippery on a grass surface, and so those brakes aren't quite as effective. But here the pilots are absolutely loving these conditions.
And we've got the competitors now coming up to the line. Here's race number 11, the Angry Kitten, 2000 Brands S7 from Auburn, Washington. I believe that's Stephen Hewitt. You're going to see Rod Hewitt compete in that plane later today as well. Oh, that's Rod. I'm hearing that's Rod. So Rod's going first, and then Dad will be after. So everyone give it up for Rod Hewitt.
Hot Rod Hewitt showing us how it's done here in Moses Lake. He has been a crowd favorite and a announcer favorite of the show. Just so entertaining, and he flies. The thing about him is he talks a lot of talk, but he backs it up with performance, and that's one thing about everyone in the Hewitt clan is they know what it takes.
It was really inspiring to see all three of them competing yesterday and really putting in. I get people say it too much, but they're putting on clinics yesterday.
Yeah, and it is definitely heartwarming to see. We've got Mike Council pulling up in his beautiful 12.
Yeah, so in the 1946 Piper PA-12 from Moses Lake, Washington, everyone give it up for Mike Council.
Mike was putting on quite a show yesterday in that comfortable backcountry airplane. This is a staple. Anywhere you go in the backcountry, you will see PA-12s. A lot of people mistake these for the popular Piper Cub aircraft, but this actually has a little bit wider cabin, quite a bit more roomy, and it's just a beautiful airplane if you love airplanes.
And now taxiing up to the line is Lil Guac, Paxton Prentice's youngest sister named the aircraft that. You can see why. We've been using it to be able to say, holy guacamole, a whole bunch this week. But everybody, check it out. We've got two pilots in there. First, you're going to see in the 1975 Cessna 182 from Ephrata, Washington, you've got Danielle Dunlop, and a little bit later, piloted by Paxton Prentice. I believe they're both in the aircraft now, but they're going to switch pilot in command duties midway through the heat.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Danielle's performance. We've seen Paxton fly this airplane, but Danielle actually has a little bit more experience with this aircraft type. So I'm really excited to see what she's able to do out here. This is so much fun to see people just bring their friends out and get everybody involved in aviation, and these are beautiful airplanes to do it in.
And now, in the 1964 Cessna 182 from Pinedale, Wyoming, it's John Douglas.
Yeah, John Douglas does a fantastic job, really makes that 182 do some magical things. He's also one of the hosts of one of our other events in Pinedale, Wyoming, coming up this August, Rocky Mountain STOL. So if you're looking for a wonderful thing to do in August, come on out and join us at Rocky Mountain STOL, because he and his crew there at Pinedale, Wyoming put on such a fantastic job. We just absolutely love that stop on the circuit.
So John's now doing a 180, getting in line here on the Ash runway. Our line judge, Eric Farewell, this season, or this competition, getting him right up to the line there, making sure those main wheels are on the line. And we're about to kick off exhibition here at Moses Lake, Washington. Full power for John Douglas on the roll.
Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Good takeoff by John Douglas. Now, we're seeing a little bit longer takeoffs today, and that's going to be normal. So that means just that, look at that wind conditions on that flag. A perfect representation. It's just perfectly calm out there. Fantastic takeoff to start the day by John Douglas.
Here comes Danielle Dunlop up to the line, getting those main wheels right on the line. That's where everything is measured from on the aircraft, either the main wheels at the back or the front for the tail draggers like Mike and the Hewitt clan are running this heat. Lil Guac waiting for release from the air bosses.
And we have it. On the takeoff roll in Lil Guac, it's Danielle. Now let's see what she does in poise her technique. Flaps are down already. You see she's starting to ease back on the pressure, and there we go. Beautiful takeoff.
These two aircraft that have just taken off, we always call them the heavies. They are in the largest class, that touring class in National STOLs. We're going to see the heaviest general aviation aircraft competing, and so we have to put that in perspective. You see a little bit longer takeoff compared to what the S7 is going to do in a minute. Well, it's also like 3 times as heavy. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. It's a heavier airplane.
Yeah, quite a bit heavier. And a staple in general aviation. It's just a testament that you can bring what you got. And so here's Mike Council on the line now in that beautiful PA-12.
Number 3, go.
He's up on the power, tail up. Those big Alaska bush wheels showing their stripes. Keeping it in the ground effect. This is exactly what we want to see as we're flying those sandbars in the backcountry. Just beautiful, smooth takeoffs. And I'm enjoying that there's not a huge amount of dust out there today, and so that'll be really, really good for the approaches because there's not enough wind to blow it away if there was a lot of dust.
And we saw a little bit coming off of the prop wash of Rod's aircraft there, but nothing like we saw Friday or Saturday, folks. If you're tuning in for the first time, after you watch tonight, go back and watch the streams, nationalstol.com, to find them. It was a dust bowl.
Pretty impressive looking, though. It was a lot of fun to watch. Now here's Rod Hewitt pulling up in that Rans S7. He's coming up on the power.
Flaps down and he's up. So short.
Wow.
So,
in spite of the wind being very, very calm, that was ridiculously short. Fantastic takeoff there from Rod Hewitt. That is just fun to watch. You can't help but just put a smile right on that Father's Day face.
So it's interesting, right? We think about what effect does the wind have as John Douglas comes in now for his first landing of today. Holding it off, that nose a little high and short. So he's got a scratch on the books. If you land before the line, the blue flag comes up and it is a scratch. It means that run does not count. You got to try again next time.
So all these pilots are just used to a huge amount of wind, and so what happens when you transition from a windy day to a calm day is things on the landing just happen quite a bit faster. And so as you're coming in for that approach, you've got to get set up a little bit early. And so I'm assuming John just made that little bit of miscalculation there, and so he'll make a correction and get used to these conditions. Now here comes Danielle, nice and low, within half a wingspan of the ground, utilizing that ground effect. Let's watch as she's able to bring this down as close to the line as possible.
Holding it off, good over the line. Wow. A lot of energy, though. She's got to get on those brakes.
Beautiful landing. There. She really nailed that one. A good one. We got the checkered flag, so that is a good landing. She'll get a score on the board. Absolutely great.
John Douglas's first run, a combined score of 454 feet. Honestly, that's not too much further. I think he was in the high 200s.
Right. Yeah. So
and that's a first. That's just the first. He's going to dial it in as he goes today.
Right. Now
Danielle's first takeoff was 385. We'll see what the landing score comes in. And while we do that, Mike Council to your right, folks, in the Chub Cub, the PA-12. So Danielle's combined score 773. I bet we'll see that narrow down quite a bit. Here comes Mike now.
Such a beautiful thing to see, a bush plane approaching. very long on that one. You can see he carried a lot of energy, and so we're going to see these pilots getting used to these conditions. I just think that that's what it is. They're used to the wind. This is their first flight in the calm winds from the heavy winds that were yesterday, so they've just got to get it dialed in for these conditions. So here comes Rod Hewitt on a really long, wide base.
Got some time to talk about Rod while he does that. His takeoff. This is interesting. His takeoff today, first takeoff, an astonishing 64 feet. And I believe, let's put in perspective, his best combined score was around 64 feet yesterday.
Absolutely. So the conditions are definitely a factor in these competitions. And that's one thing that the internet talks about. You know, when we have these ridiculously windy days and the takeoffs and landings are really short, that's usually the first comment. Well, what was the wind?
What was the wind? Yeah, I got a lot of those texts yesterday. What was the wind? And my counter, I said, I would tell them the winds, you know, like for Jeff, I think you said it was like 27 knots on his airspeed indicator just standing still. I was like, you know, he still had to work really hard for that. It's not easy in the heavy wind. You just get the shorter distance. Here's Rod now coming in short final.
Yeah, you know, when the winds are a little bit heavier, it does still require that work. And Rod really pushing hard there for a short landing, coming in and scratching. But he is pressuring himself to perform, and so I really love to see that. He is itching for a low score today, so really exciting. But going back to the wind, let's watch this replay here. You see that right wing stalled a little bit early. And that's what caused him to come in a little bit short.
We heard that burst of power he gave to try to save it as it was coming down. The cool thing about a RANS 7 or a lot of the like purpose-built bush planes is your main gear are designed to absorb a lot of that punishment. So you can do a little bit more than you would say in a 182 or a 172.
Yeah, absolutely. Those shocks that they're designing for these modern bush planes are absolutely amazing. In fact, the company that built my shocks actually builds shocks for military aircraft and even NASCAR. And so they're getting some really high-tech shock absorption. And the feature that I love about these shocks the most is the rebound protection, allowing you to get on the brakes and really land short. So once you plop those things down, you'll notice a lot of these airplanes that don't have the shocks, maybe they're the steel spring like in the Cessnas, if they set it down a little hard, they might bounce back up into the air. And one of the things I love about these modern shocks that are being designed is they have that rebound protection, so you stay in contact with the ground and you're able to get on those brakes. So if you're shopping for shocks, that's a good question to ask, is what's the rebound?
What's the rebound of these
because
shocks?
That's really what matters when it comes to short landings, is being able to contact the ground and stay there.
Well, and if you think about like the S7, like Rod is flying the RANS S7, that from the factory, the kit that you build, it's an experimental aircraft, comes with spring, like metal spring gear, right? And
right.
Most pilots that are competitive will swap to this more traditional style, Cub style gear.
Right, absolutely. Now here's John Douglas setting up for his second attempt. Now his first takeoff was 227 feet. Now let's see if he can improve on that with this one. There's the elevator. Perfect.
He's holding it off. There's going to be some discussion there, I think, on the line judges in terms of when the wheels last left the ground. If you kind of bounce or skim the ground, there's a little bit of variability we need to take into account there. We measure from where you last left the ground, waiting for a number on that. Again, like Corey mentioned, 227, his previous takeoff number.
Which is really good in a 182 in calm weather. 277, so close, you know, they look the same, but
yeah.
A little bit longer.
A little bit longer.
So here's Danielle on the line. Now her first takeoff was 385 feet. Definitely room for some improvement there. Let's watch as she begins her takeoff roll.
Has that elevator already applied to get the aircraft light on its nose in this soft field condition. Full back now and just nursing it off into the air. Really clean. Now she's got to get those flaps retracted. No issue there as she's climbing out beyond the... There's no obstacles here in Moses Lake, but if you did, wait till you clear the obstacle and then retract them. Mike Council from Moses Lake, Washington in the PA-12. Got those Alaskan bush wheels on the line there, ready to go.
What a smart decision by Airframes Alaska to make those decals for the sides of the bush wheels so they can show off their brand. I actually love it. When they came out with it, I think I was one of their first customers because it just really improves the aesthetics of the aircraft. It's beautiful. I love that company. They are fantastic for the backcountry, and we sure appreciate Airframes Alaska. Mike Council putting on a great takeoff there. You just imagine, you know, transplanting our competition into the wild somewhere, and he's taking off on a sandbar. That's exactly what you want to see.
Here comes Rod Hewitt now for his second takeoff and landing of the morning. First takeoff was 64 feet, which is a very competitive number. That's unlimited class competition on a day like today. But he didn't get a score on the board due to the scratch. And I think a little bit of a thing I want to see is, again, we saw his dad beat him by about, I think it was 12 feet yesterday, 10 or 12 feet. We're going to see that competition resume today between him and his dad.
So much fun to watch the family of the Hewitts. Now here's Rod. I think he's trying out a little bit of a new technique there. I don't know that I've actually seen him preload the tail, you know, bring it up before he releases the brakes. So that's interesting. You know, it's exhibition day. It's the day to try out new things. Now here comes John Douglas, a really close base to final. Now I don't know. I think this is going to cost him a little bit because he's just not going to have a lot of time today without the winds to get set up and get his energy management under control. So I'm really interested to see what he's able to come up with here today. But he actually looks like he's in the pocket. Good angle of attack. I don't know. Maybe he did it. Oh,
and a scratch for John Douglas.
I have to imagine that if he had given himself a little bit more time, you know, he only had a few seconds on that tight base to set up for that landing. And that's something to consider when you're in the backcountry. Give yourself a little bit of time. If you have the space, utilize it. Don't worry about coming in too tight or showing off for your pals. Do it safely. Give yourself time. And that's what Danielle's doing. She's got quite a bit longer approach here, giving herself those precious seconds to get settled in. Now she's in energy management mode. Got the flaps out. Everything is set up. Now it's all about the throttle, the elevator, and keeping it in line.
Little burst of power. Pulls it out. And just before the line, it looked like from here, that is a scratch.
But did you notice the difference there? It seemed like she had a lot more stability, a lot less control input required. And so I'm assuming that John is going to make that correction on his next run because he's challenged. He's got 2 scratches in a row now. I don't know that the scorekeepers have that first landing marked as a scratch for John Douglas yet, but I do think I remember that first one was also a scratch.
Scratch for Danielle there and rolled out, so we don't have a competitive score on that one. So she's still holding with a combined score of 773. Mike Council now on short final with a combined score of 560 last time, and a big improvement on his takeoff this time, down to 219 feet. Getting it all locked in, holding it off. Gave up about 25 to 50 feet on the touchdown, but he's definitely good over the line and stopped around 275-ish, we'll call it. Maybe 280.
Man, this is so much fun watching airplanes in the morning, Ryan. This is just my happy place. Cup of coffee, watching airplanes. This is what I love to see. It's like I've transported myself into Johnson Creek, Idaho, and the only thing that's missing is the mountains and the pine trees.
But here, if you look around the corner there, I saw some snow caps in the distance.
Absolutely.
We've got some great views here in Moses Lake. Here's Rod Hewitt, base to final turn. His takeoff this last round, significantly longer for him, from 64 up to 99 feet.
Yeah, crazy. And on social, thanks for that comment. Rod's plane is absolutely amazing. It's so much fun to see. And the cool thing about Rod's airplane that I want the audience to know is this is accessible. For the price of a bass fishing boat, you can be flying an airplane. For the price of a wakeboarding set, or rig, your boat and all that stuff, you could be flying that airplane coming out to National STOL. So it's pick your recreational activity.
Yeah.
It's definitely accessible. Anybody can learn how to fly, so come on out and play and enjoy the fun.
Yeah, it's a super accessible aircraft. The other thing I'd point out that makes it even more accessible compared to like the 182s, which are something that is very common, is the RANS aircraft using that Rotax engine burning a lot less fuel too.
Right.
So there's a way to get into your cost of ownership can also be lower with some of these light sport or experimental aircraft.
Right. And when you've got an airplane that costs you, $200 an hour to operate versus the RANs, which might cost you $30 an hour to operate. You know what I mean? There's a absolutely beautiful way to get involved in aviation and fun for the whole family.
If I'm not mistaken, while we've been chatting, I think we may have had a pilot swap. Rod going over to his dad now. Steven, someone's getting buckled in there, shutting the door. While they're getting ready, we're getting ready to get everyone going. Let's talk a little bit about our sponsors. We've got a couple people we need to thank for bringing this to you. And of course, we can start with Ladd Gardner Insurance. They're a partner of National STOL since the beginning. They've got excellent customer service and coverage. Ladd Gardner Insurance is aviation protected, and we appreciate them protecting us. Legend Aircraft. Whoa. You got to talk about Legend Aircraft. You talk about STOL. The Legend Cub continues to be the most coveted American manufactured sport aircraft. It's an all-new factory-built aircraft designed in the spirit of the legendary Piper J3, PA-18 Super Cubs, the best of the past with an obtainable wish list of modern enhancements. American Legend Aircraft Company has engineered all the safety, comfort, and convenience options imaginable. You can learn more at legend.aero. Of course, on the circuit, the National STOL circuit, we see their MOAX, the mother of all Cubs, dropping insane numbers with their slats and their high horsepower.
Yeah, it's such a versatile aircraft. I mean, you see these guys strapping moose horns, antlers, all sorts of things to the struts and taking them into the wild, hunting, outfitting, river rafting, all sorts of fun. Insertion platform into the backcountry these aircraft are, and Legend Cub leading the way.
So we heard from Race Control, they did confirm that John Douglas's first run was a scratch, so he's not yet on the board. So far today, the lack of wind kind of playing with people after getting all dialed in on high winds. Right now, only on the board in this first heat, we have Mike Council with 560, Danielle Dunlap with 773, and I believe Rod Hewitt should be on the board for his second run.
Well, he did do a scratch on that second one, and so he has 2 scratches in a row as well. Or no, maybe he came in really long. Yeah,
I think he came in long. Yeah, it was a combined score of
yeah.
226.
That's
So
right.
Rod's holding first place here on Sunday. Here's John Douglas now trying to get on the board. Heavy on the throttle, giving it the beans. Digging that tail into the ash. That left wing dropping a little bit, but he's got it sorted out with rudder.
He wanted that takeoff so bad, and I think the wind fell out from underneath him. You can see some of the flags are showing a tailwind now, and some of them are, it's just kind of light and variable. So these conditions definitely playing into today's exhibition.
I want to admit, when I was a student pilot, my least favorite days were light and variable days.
Really?
I don't know
It's
what's
so
going to happen.
confusing.
What's going to happen? Which way is it coming from? Here's Lil Guac on the roll. And I believe that'll be Paxton Prentice on the controls now. Good and off the dirt.
That is so much fun to see these certified airplanes that you see at any flight school in America compete at National STOL. It's just such a treat to see it, and especially when you see them come into the backcountry and land on the grass or in the dirt with you in camp. It's so much fun.
So Jeff Daly in the Badlands Traveler. I'll tell this story in a second. Here goes Mike Council in the Chub Cub, off pretty short there. Oh, the right main held on. The left main was off the ground there, but he had to get the right one off too, of course. a little bit longer.
Hello, Ray in the UK. Thanks for joining us on social. Feel free to jump down in the comments if you're watching the live stream and talk to us. Let's make today an interactive Father's Day.
Love that. Yeah, say hello. What I was going to say about Jeff Daly, on his way here, he stopped at a bunch of Idaho backcountry strips, and he said he was the only classic bush plane configured aircraft at all these backcountry strips. He's like, he was even a V-tail Bonanza there. People were putting in work in all the like non-bush plane types, all backcountry.
And I love to see that. I mean, the backcountry is for everyone, and quite honestly, the world is so vast and different. You can fly 2 hours in any direction and see such different terrain in the backcountry that it's absolutely amazing as Rod does a fantastic takeoff there, bringing the dust into the play. Fantastic takeoff there.
So that should be, I think, now Steven.
Oh, Steven,
They
you're
swapped.
right.
They're trying to confuse us. They're making us work for it today, Corey.
You know, it's the perfect Father's Day story where son flies first and then father takes over, and now they're competing. So dad wants to beat son, and here we go, watching it play in front of us live.
Rod Hewitt currently with 226. Best takeoff on the board of 99 feet. I feel like that was about the same for Steven. I saw the aircraft come off right around the 100 mark. We'll see what happens when that comes in. Here's John Douglas turning that base to final, using that tighter pattern approach that you were talking about earlier, Corey.
You know, John's he's got so much flight time. He just feels so comfortable in this aircraft. Now he's got plenty of time. He did widen out that base leg a little bit, so he's got plenty of time this time around. He does not yet have a score on the board today, so let's watch as he does bring it in. Oh, perfect landing. We're showing a checkered board, so it looks good. We might need to go to a replay, though.
I was going to say we saw a blue flag first, then a checkered flag. So which one is it? Let's watch the replay here. Coming in right up to the line. Watch for the dust.
Come back.
There we go. Here it comes on the replay. Frame by frame.
Good. Yeah, that's good.
That is good. Yeah, you can see the little kick of dust right after the line. And here's Lil Guac.
Paxton Prentice at the controls this time. Beautiful landing by Lil Guac. Good high alpha, good high angle of attack approach. Beautiful landing from Paxton Prentice there in the 182. Good job.
So far, Danielle bested him on takeoffs. Her best was 385. Paxton's best takeoff, 393. So we'll see what comes up on the board.
Yeah, Paxton just put on a beautiful demonstration of a full stall landing in that 182. So if you're a student pilot, rewind that video and watch that again. That was gorgeous.
Here's Mike Council in that 1946 Piper PA-12.
The Super Cruiser is the loving nickname for this airplane because it's so comfortable to fly in. Just a fantastic platform if you need a good piece of equipment to get you into the backcountry.
And what you've noticed with Mike here is that he's getting closer and closer to the line, but he has been giving up a fair amount of distance on the touchdown. The accuracy compared to the line is a little bit lower for him today, but he did have, I think, a further one that was around 100 feet. Now he brought it back to maybe, let's call it 50 or 75 feet.
That's something that I think about a lot when I'm coming in for a landing in the backcountry. Things happen a little bit faster when there's no wind. And so if you imagine your relative ground speed being today, if you're approaching at 50 miles an hour, things happen at 50 miles an hour. But if you have 20 miles an hour on the nose, things are happening at 30 miles an hour.
Right.
So there's quite a bit more time for your brain to make decisions. Like, for example, when that line comes up, there's a reaction. And so I think that's maybe why they're going long, is things are happening a lot more quickly. So the anticipation becomes into there, and it becomes, oh, look at this beautiful approach by Steven. Just really putting it on the edge there.
He wanted it.
He is so hungry to beat his son today that he is putting on a performance. That was so exciting. I cannot wait to see his next one. That was fantastic. Enjoyed breakfast with them and the family this morning, and I got to tell you, their fangs are out for each other. They want to beat each other heartedly.
Watch this. Look, that right wing dropping down, and it was a scratch right before the line there and getting it a little squirrely, but look how he's got that stick full back. keeping that tail down despite the braking action.
Excellent. He's just really pushing hard. Love to see it. Mike Council, what a beautiful airplane. Just love to see. I mean, I can't think of a better way to spend Father's Day morning than watching airplanes fly.
I'm just still thinking about Stephen Hewitt there. No fear.
None.
No fear.
None.
Maybe that comes with wisdom and age. He's like, you know what? I'm ready to go. I've seen everything.
I've seen everything. I've done everything but beat Rod.
Well, they've both won the rookie class now.
Yep, they
so
sure have.
Rod won the rookie class his first time out, and now his dad won the rookie class yesterday in competition. Both of them rookies no more. Here's John Douglas doing the 180. While you're getting ready to get pumped about National STOL, be sure to check out our upcoming events. Registration's open for Appalachian Mountain STOL in Pennsylvania, which is in just a few weeks at the end of June. Sodbusters, one of my favorites because it's where I learned to fly in Hartford, Wisconsin, is just before Oshkosh. And then in August, mid-August, Rocky Mountain STOL, which conveniently is hosted by John Douglas and his wonderful wife. Here they go.
Now you'll notice he starts out really clean. He only has one notch of flaps in, but his elevator is perfectly horizontal. He doesn't want any excess drag because anytime you induce control surface inputs, it does vector your thrust away from the horizontal plane, and we have measured that in a scientific way with scales. But there is an impact on the thrust when you put control inputs there. And you'll watch Danielle's technique is quite a bit, or Paxton's technique is quite a bit different than John's. Look at that elevator control surface on the takeoff, and let's break this down as soon as he's cleared into the track. So he starts out with horizontal control, absolutely. 2 notches of flaps, it looks like, for him. Starting to feed in that elevator right there. A little too early, though, but absolutely beautiful takeoff nonetheless. And these 182s are doing so well in no wind. I mean, we're talking sub 400, sub 300 foot takeoffs consistently in a certified airplane. And I remember thinking back when I was in flight school, looking at runways and thinking, oh man, that runway's only 2,000 feet long. And that's intimidating. And these guys are doing it in a quarter of that length and less.
Honestly, that's how I feel now, right? Like a tight runway for me in my 172 is 2,000, 3,000 feet. And that's part of that is a proficiency thing. But 2, it's just the experience, right? You got to come out and do it and see what the true capabilities are. Here's Mike Council on the roll, getting that tail up, and he's off on, again, that left main hanging on, or taking off first.
We must have a little bit of wind from the right because we're starting to see a trend here. Pay attention to the broadcast and also live here. Watch that right wing. It seems like all the aircraft are seeing that right wing come down a little bit. And so I suspect that these pilots are having to put in some crosswind control technique on their takeoffs and landings.
Stephen Hewitt coming up to the line in the S7, the Angry Kitten, number 11.
Just look at some of these amazing combined scores in such light and variable conditions. Stephen Hewitt now coming up on the power. His technique is a little bit different than Rod's.
Woo, okay. Off around 75 feet.
Such a treat to watch every time because even though you know it can perform at this capability, it's such a surprise. 75 feet is so short.
Here's John Douglas, base to final.
I didn't like that landing, though.
In that 182. We're talking about the weights, the comparable weights. I mean, look at the specs here. You know, gross weight of 3,100 pounds. That's a big airplane. Here he is. I was about to say over the line. It looked like he for sure had it. Another scratch for John Douglas.
You know, he's pushing really hard. He really wants those short landings. Now, he was only a few inches short and came at a stop at about 240 feet or so. So that was a fantastic landing nonetheless, even though it was a scratch. He has really got that airplane dialed in.
And, yeah, very close on the scratch, right? Like maybe a wheel width before the line.
Absolutely inches. And that's so cool to see how National STOL shakes out. I mean, we had between first and third place yesterday, I think it was less than 20 feet in the sport class. It was absolutely, or maybe it was the touring, I can't remember. But here we go with Paxton Prentice and Lil Guac, also a 182. Beautiful
Good over
job.
the line. A lot of energy, though, but basically just has the mains completely locked up. Just sliding through the ash.
Love to see it.
And Paxton did best Danielle, actually, on that first run. Danielle's best score combined 773. Paxton's best score 713. And it looks like it was done in the landing distance. And I would guess if it's Paxton's airplane and Danielle's his instructor, he's a little less worried about about mashing on the brakes than she is because it's not hers.
And he's probably got more time in the airplane too.
Yeah,
so
it's probably
familiarity
fair.
is a thing. You know, after you get a few hundred hours in an airplane, you really start to get it dialed in. Here we go. We've got Mike Council here. Tail almost touching. Absolutely beautiful landing, but resulted in a scratch, unfortunately, for him. So it looks like he's going to go ahead and just roll on out to the end of the runway.
Let's watch that again on replay. Yep, just those mains hitting maybe, 2 feet before, it looks like, maybe a foot before the line. And Stephen Hewitt now looking to get on the board. His first run, of course, had that scratch. His takeoff this time, 72, which is better than Rod's best one on the books. Rod's shortest takeoff was 64 feet, but was closed out with a scratch.
Yeah, he's hungry now. So what we're probably going to see here is maybe a little bit more conservative approach than his last one. His last one is, you know, you can throw away that first round, and so that's the perfect one to be very aggressive. But now it's time to get a score on the board and get it over the line. And if he can get that thing stopped in about 100 feet or 115 feet, he'll beat his son.
Good over the line, heavy on those brakes, stick full back.
That's close, just sub 100, I believe. Beautiful landing from Stephen Hewitt. Woo! Wow. That is a little sandbar.
That is a very little sandbar. So I believe that's it for this first heat, touring and sport. We're on board right there with Tegan LaPointe as she taxis out and gets ready to go. Let's walk you through the scores for this first one.
We've also got Shad Forrester live in the cockpit, trying a little bit new things out here today. That'll be a lot of fun to see.
So again, I think you guys on the score sheet have missed Stephen Hewitt's first scratch. We got Moses Lake shirts. So let's look at the scores now. Danielle Dunlap with 773 feet combined in that 182. John Douglas, combined score of 589. He brought home the gold yesterday. Paxton Prentice, combined score of 574. Mike Council, combined score of 507. In second place, Rod Hewitt with a combined score of 226. And in first place with a combined score of 166, his dad. Happy Father's Day, Stephen.
That's how to do it on Father's Day. Do you think you let Dad win? I don't know. We'll have to talk to him about
I bet that'll be the story for sure. If it were me, I'd be like, Dad, it was Father's Day. I let you win. Happy Father's Day. I love you. And
I would have just kicked his butt and then said, Happy Father's Day, Dad. I exceeded expectations.
Happy Father's Day. I learned this from you. Right?
Either way,
what you taught me.
So much fun to watch.
By the way, my dad, if you're watching out there, Dad, probably not, but maybe we'll watch this later. Happy Father's Day, Pops. Yeah. He was an airplane guy. I'm an airplane guy. It's
Absolutely.
Kind of fun. Let's talk a little bit about other folks that have helped make this possible. I want to talk real quick about flighthelmets.com. We actually have a flighthelmet.com helmet that the cable is stuck on here. Let me get it out. There we go. Live TV. Check this thing out. Are you going to put it on? Corey's going to put it on for you. So flighthelmet.com, guess what they make? They make flight helmets. Helmets are mandatory now in National STOL. We want everyone to be safe. Flight Helmets actually provides helmets for our rookies if they need them when they're getting in. Just getting those flying eyes. That's what I was going to talk about next. Look at how those work together, the two sponsors together. You look like a real Top Gun guy right now. That's great. So check out flighthelmet.com. They are a great help and sponsor to us.
I feel like a Top Gun. Talk to me, Goose.
Yeah. Your body's writing checks. Your ego's writing checks your body can't cash.
I've been doing that my whole life.
Use code NSTOL50, NSTOL50 for $50 off at flighthelmet.com. Check them out. What do you think? So far, so good?
It's actually quite a bit more comfortable than I anticipated. You know, it's time for me to buy a flighthelmet.com helmet.
There you
I
go.
already have
You
the
heard it here
Flying
first.
Eyes sunglasses.
Well, let's talk about that. Flying Eyes Optics sunglasses are the lightest and most comfortable aviation sunglasses. Check out. I actually use them for prescription glasses too. And what's great about them, if you're a pilot, is they slide in underneath your headset and they don't break the seal, the seal for the noise reduction. Here's what I do though, because I need the prescriptions. They got these bad boys. Bam, magnets. How do they work? They work like this. What are you doing in there?
I'm enjoying watching the show.
All right, this is good. Yeah. So there you go, Flying Eyes. You can use code National STOL. You can use code National STOL to save 10% at flyingeyes.com, flyingeyesoptics.com. And yeah, we're getting a little tour there. Oh, yours are falling off. Here, I'll take that helmet from you, Corey. So big thanks to them for helping us bring National STOL to you at home and to everyone here at Moses Lake. We're gearing up now for the backcountry class, and we're going to have a bunch of Cessnas for you. We're going to have a bunch of Cessnas. We've got Cessna 170s, Cessna 172s. They're all here ready to compete right in front of you. What's up, Av Geeks and STOL Freaks? Welcome to Lone Star STOL here in beautiful Sulphur Springs, Texas. It's Luke Spore, everybody, 2019 American Legend Aircraft MOAC. A round of applause for Chuck Olmstead. In the gray and orange MOAC, Brian Shirley, everybody. Give a round of applause for Brian Steck. You might be sub 60 feet on that one. The unlimited class. It's what you've been waiting for. right, the beast mode coax, Colin Kaniva.
Oh my goodness gracious. Frank Knapp showing that he deserves to belong here. Whoa, that was legendary.
Looking for a more affordable entry into bush plane flying? How about paramotoring, aka the dirt bike of the sky? Paramotoring STOL is the next best thing, and this adventure motor that you wear on your back is your ticket to getting airborne quick. At Aviator Paramotor, our 2-week training takes you from zero to hero.
Sunrise this morning, it was beautiful. There was a thin layer of fog flying. It's just like all the stress and all that kind of just floats away. It's really peaceful.
From no experience to feeling confident and competent flying on your own. Let the team at Aviator Paramotor in Lake Wales, Florida teach you your new superpower of running into the sky. Classes are filling up quick, but there are spots available today, so call now. Side effects include, but not limited to, significant life changes, foot drags, ear-to-ear smiles. Find the extreme freedoms of ripping around the skies in your new adventure motor with friends.
We've had it in all of our airplanes. Ever since we started with the Piper Saratoga in the early 2000s. We did the pulse oximeter and CO detector in there. We've upgraded to there. Now we have a Cessna 340 that I was talking to him in Germany last year, and he was like, oh, you got to put the cabin altitude thing in the plane. I said, well, send it to me. So we put it in there, and it actually is really nice. This aircraft flies above 18,000, 10,000 feet, so up to 23,000 feet the other day. The cabin altitude light comes on the manufacturer's panel, and boom, the CO Guardian comes on and says, all right, you're above 10,000, your cabin altitude is above 10,000 feet. So watch out. So it's kind of nice to have that redundancy in the plane. So for a pressurized aircraft, that is so important for me. I get that oxygen mask ready, make sure my oxygen is good.
Well, good afternoon, National STOL. John Jughead Council here with 97 Bravo, my 55 Cessna 170. And hey, I'm one of the many Moses Lake locals here, so it's great to be back at the airport that my dad soloed at, I soloed at, my brother soloed at. So it's a cool coming home, and it's such a neat history here at the old Larson Air Force Base, now Grant County International Airport. It's Moses Lake, so what does that mean? That means May 18th, 1980, we had the most volcanic ash land here in Moses Lake from anywhere when Mount St. Helens erupted. We had 3 to 3.5 inches of the most fine, silky volcanic ash on the ground. And what you're seeing out there today is we still have undisturbed earth that has that layer of ash in it. And so this really fine white dust you see coming up behind the airplanes as we're taking off and landing, yeah, that's a little geological history right there with Mount St. Helens going, I'm still here. On landing, it has given us some really nice braking action. You can get on the brakes really hard. These 31-inch Alaska bush wheels, I'm landing with my brakes on. I'm actually trying to just skid the tires throughout the landing roll. So really good braking action with the wind on the nose right now, 15 knots. I was seeing takeoff somewhere in the 125 to 135 foot range, and I had at least 2, if not 3, sub 100 foot landings. That's right, Tegan, sub 100 feet. Tegan, right over here is my number 2 competitor, also flying a beautiful 170, Betty Page over there. She was a red airplane before she started flying here in the ash cloud today, but being in the last in the lineup, Betty Page is now completely ash and brown. You can get out here, you can talk to somebody like myself that's competed for years across the country, and we'll give you all the tips and help we can, except maybe if it's Tegan. Too much rivalry going on right there, right, girl? And but the rookies are out here having fun. We've got 182s, 172s, experimentals, it's got a great thing. And, of course, wonderful support out of Millionaire with the fuel support out here and everybody at National STOL. It's great to see our good friend Corey Robin back out having some fun in aviation. He showed up, surprised everybody here today, and Ryan's doing a great job on the mic. Thanks to all the men and women behind the scenes, like our great cameramen and support crews or line judges. Jughead's out.
Hi, my name is Tegan LaPointe. I'm flying Beige Betty here. It's my Cessna 170. She's a little bit bigger than John Council's as far as the engines. 210 horsepower, fuel injected. It's got all the standard off-airport stuff, Horton STOL, VGs, big tires, all of that. So, yeah, we're out here. We had practice yesterday. It was super windy and gusty, but looking forward to today. Should be a good day to go out and fly and compete against John. At the end of the day, you know, there's always that friendly competition out there, but you know, I want to be able to take this thing home. I use it a lot for, you know, camping, going off airport, and just, you know, a lot of fun. So it's really, I mean, it's the same thing here. If we take home, you know, first or second place, that's just bonus in the cap. You know, this isn't just for guys out there. Anybody can go out and fly. My girlfriend flies this airplane too. I help teach her how to fly it. And just don't let anybody tell you you can't. You know, you're no different. You're just as capable as everybody else. Hell, maybe you're even better. You know, get out there, start flying, and show them what you can do.
Hi, my name is Mike Council. I'm flying a 1946 PA-12. Was rebuilt in 1999 by Charlie Flight Systems. Has a 0360 running 31-inch bush wheels, baby bush tire. This is my first time out here as a rookie, so I'm just out here to have fun and not have an insurance claim. This is home. Born and raised here in Moses Lake, and my brother's flying down here in 97 Bravo. So yeah.
My name's Shad Forster. I fly a 1961 Cessna 172, 180 horse Avcon conversion, constant speed prop, Horton STOL cuff. Other than that, she's pretty stock. She's just plain Jane 172. She's small tires. She's a good airplane. I like her. Originally from Royal City, but I live here in Moses Lake. I got married. I got 3 kids, and I'm a commercial pilot. It's actually not mine. It's my grandpa's. So thanks, Grandpa.
Well, my name is Steve Hewitt. I got 2 Alaskan natives in my family. My
Pretty
son.
much his greatest accomplishment, by the way.
Well, yeah, you got to say that. And a daughter. And then
Nobody cares about her, though.
Yeah.
Sorry, Karen.
But she's beautiful.
Nobody cares
Within
about
a week.
this. Tell them how you're going to dominate.
No.
The Hewitts are going to dominate.
Well, yeah, my son will dominate. Well, I have nothing to lose. If I win, I win. And if he beats me, I still win because he's my son. So.
And I can't lose because I'm the new frontman of National STOL. You're welcome, America.
It's all good. It's a lot of fun. It's great fun. Kind of push yourself a little bit, try to fly on the edge, try to fly smoothly and accurately. And I do love the win. Even though it's a little bumpy, but you know what, 50-foot takeoffs or less? It's pretty good. All right, thanks a lot.
And we are back here in Moses Lake, Washington. Love hearing from the Hewitt family. Let's talk about some of these local sponsors and supporters that helped us bring Moses Lake 2024 to you here at National STOL. First, Moses Lake EAA Chapter 355 and the Washington Pilots Association, the Moses Lake Chapter. Automated Ag, Columbia Technology Solutions, Jackson Flight Center, Basin Pacific Insurance, and of course, we've got to thank the airport, Moses Lake Airport. We really appreciate them hosting us and helping us feel so welcome here over the last couple days. It has been an absolute pleasure, and the hospitality has been through the roof. It takes an absolute village to put on a National STOL show, and to do it in the great environment of an air show as well is just absolutely incredible. You are going to see some great stuff here at Moses Lake a little bit later today. You're
starting with this.
Starting with this. We got the onboards. I think that's Tegan LaPointe there. And we also have onboards with Shad Forrester coming up for you too. But let's take a look at the lineup of the backcountry class here at Moses Lake 2024. We've got Alan Hewitt in a 172. Shad Forrester from Royal City also in a 172. Lance Hawk in the 170. Tegan LaPointe, she's in a 170. And John Jughead Council in, guess what, another Cessna 170. You'll see why the 170 is such a popular aircraft in STOL competition in just a little bit. So yeah, hopping on board there with the various pilots as we get ready to go for this next class. I wanted to take a moment also to thank all the volunteers. I said it takes a village earlier. It absolutely does, and we have so many volunteers that come from all over the country because they're so passionate about STOL flying and about National STOL, and we can't thank them enough for helping bring this show to you. And also, we have to thank you at home. Everyone at home who's watching right now, who's been sharing this on social, who's been making sure that your passion for flight and aviation is getting permeated through the rest of the world. We just thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now here we have the airplane lineup making their way down the STOL runway. Looks like up first we've got John and Dakota.
That's right. For John Jughead Council today, Dog is his co-pilot.
That's right.
He's got Dakota flying with him.
Dakota being the first dog ever to finish the Washington State Pilot Passport Program, which is kind of a fun program that a lot of states have put together. I know they have one in Wisconsin as well. And, you know, what happens is you fly your airplane to all the different runways in the state, and you stamp your passport. And once you've achieved all of them, you get a special prize, and Dakota's the only dog to have completed that.
So there he is in race 115 in this 1955 Cessna 170 Bravo from Moses Lake, Washington. Everybody, it's John Jughead Council.
And Dakota.
And Dakota. Can't forget Dakota.
So much fun. Dakota's been such a great fun this weekend. I just love dogs. So, and you know, he's bringing his dog into the backcountry everywhere he goes. If you don't know John Council on YouTube, go ahead and give him a search. It's definitely worth a watch. It's so much fun watching him and his trusty companion out there in the backcountry.
Next up in race 194 in the 1953 Cessna 170 from Gig Harbor, Washington. Everybody give it up for Tegan LaPointe.
Now Tegan's got a little special treat for us today. She's actually got an onboard in-cockpit camera that hopefully we can show you. This is an experiment we're doing today, so we're really excited to be able to see if this is something we can add to the National STOL repertoire as we move forward. Very cool stuff. The production crew is really pushing the envelope, a testament to their passion and love for this sport.
Next up in race 973 in the 1948 Cessna 170 from Moses Lake, Washington, it's Lance Hawk.
Very, very cool guy. Love to see Lance out here. He's also, you know, a local hometown favorite here in Moses Lake, Washington. He is also equipped with one of our onboard pilot cameras. As you can see him taxiing there. That's live right there in the cockpit. Really cool technology we're able to see there in the split screen online in the broadcast. Loving this beautiful air show weather today. Is look at the Tegan. I don't know if the cameras can point way out there to the run-up area. That is a beautiful plume of volcanic ash.
Next up in race 103 in a Cessna 172 from Royal City, Washington, now from Moses Lake, it's Shad Forrester.
Shad Forrester, oh, he also has an onboard camera. I noticed that in the cockpit there. Shad Forrester putting on an absolute clinic in that 172, which happens to be the kind of airplane I learned how to fly in. Absolutely fantastic. You know, the funny thing is I soloed in a decathlon.
Okay.
And then that airplane went away, and so I had to finish my flight training in a Cessna 172. And you know, the funny thing that intimidated me was flying a nose-wheel airplane.
It was the same way. In race 453 in a 1957 Cessna 172, check out that straight tail vintage 172 from Renton, Washington. It's another Hewitt, everybody. Give it up for Alan Hewitt. And we saw Alan Hewitt doing incredible things with that 172. Both Tegan and John Jughead Council yesterday during the awards ceremony, they had taken first and second place respectively. They both said they watched Alan fly. He flew just a little bit before them, and they said, uh-oh, we're going to get beat by a 172. He was that good that had him shaking in their boots a little bit.
And you know, this morning is going to be very interesting because yesterday they flew in different rounds, and so what that really translates to is the conditions were slightly different. And so the conditions are going to be much more closely matched today. And so I'm really, really excited to see what Alan's able to do in this 172 compared to the 170s. It's going to be a great morning of backcountry class. And here we go. Alan's on the takeoff roll.
Love that red Cessna.
Oh, man, that was awesome.
He really knows how to fly that thing. It is like always exactly perfectly timed on the liftoffs. He's always being so precise and gentle as he gets the nose back down, as he retracts the flaps. It's just, when you've been flying as long as he has, you know he's doing a great job. Here now is Shad Forrester taxiing up to the line.
Another one of our traditional nose wheel aircraft that we just love to see. Look at that onboard camera on the live feed. That is such a cool element.
Full throttle there. Watch what he's doing with all his hands in the cockpit.
There's the rotation. Very aggressive on the rotation, bringing it off nice and early, settling back down on the ground effect. Very aggressive technique. I think that's going to pay off for Shad Forrester. Wonderful takeoff there to start the day.
Now it's time for the 170s to come out and play. Lance Hawk in his 1948 Cessna 170 Alpha model.
Now the difference between Lance aircraft and the two other 170s is Lance is bone stock. This is what you'd get from the factory. And you'll see a little bit of a difference here today in the performance characteristics. But a beautiful, bouncing that tail wheel off the ground. Maybe a little bit of an early pull there, Ryan.
Yeah, you saw the tail come up and come down, and the plane didn't leap into the air. That means the timing was off. And then I think you would say that, well, now the tail's back down. Guess what? We've got more drag.
Right.
We've got to rebuild some energy to get up into the sky. Here's Tegan.
Yeah, from a physics perspective, an early pull is quite costly. And so here we go with the onboard camera and everything. Tegan LaPointe, no stranger to doing this in the backcountry. Again, these pilots are all pulling a little bit early. You saw that tail wheel bounce off the ground 2 or 3 times there. That is going to cost precious feet in the takeoff. And look at that beautiful onboard cockpit camera.
Absolutely mesmerized. It's like, oh, I want to, this is a little bit of a learning moment for me, right? I can watch how she does that. Here's
Those are
John.
the shots that I really try hard to get on a YouTube video, but I'm recording it. And so this live is really a testament to the technical achievement of this staff. Let's listen and see if we can hear Jughead in the cockpit as he begins his takeoff roll. Oh man, look how beautiful the airplane is, accelerating. Now that was what he told us he was going to do, a traditional factory.
300 feet for 97 Bravo decoded.
Yeah, that's John Jughead Council live from the cockpit demonstrating a textbook checklist style takeoff where you preset the flaps, you don't lift the tail off, and you just fly it off the ground. That is what you would learn how to do it. And so that's his first takeoff. His next one, I anticipate he'll show us a little bit different technique. So John Council showing us the different types of techniques as we come into play.
Here comes Alan Hewitt now. A little bit of power to get over the line. Good over the line. That nose wheel putting in work.
Wow, that was such a fantastic landing for Alan. He's going to be really happy with that. Definitely sub 200 feet, sub 150 feet for Alan in a 172. That is going to be a really good score for him as his first run of the day, putting the pressure on the 170s and the other 172, which is coming up right now with Shad Forrester in the cockpit.
Combined score for Alan Hewitt. First one on the board, 382 feet combined. Shad had a much shorter takeoff, though. Here he is on short final, dropping that right wing a little bit, getting it straightened out, And he's got to hold it off. Good over the line, heavy on those brakes.
You could see that Shad came in with a lot more energy than Alan. I don't know if his wing just stalls at a higher airspeed or what, but he did have a lot more energy. But he did have a 30-foot shorter takeoff, so that might bode well for his score.
And the one I'm looking forward to the most, honestly, of this run is Tegan LaPointe. Her takeoff was the shortest of all of them with 2:09. But we know Jughead's doing a little bit of a show for us.
And here's Lance bringing it in the flare. Not really high alpha, lots of energy there. That's going to cost him a lot on that landing roll. Still sub 300 feet, coming in at about 275-ish. Beautiful landing there, but really a lot of energy as these airplanes get dialed in for these light and variable wind conditions. Now here's Tegan in the forward slip.
I love that. If nothing else, for style points.
Love to see the dissipation of the energy with using that third control surface, the rudder. Often underutilized by most pilots, but in the backcountry, it's one of our most valuable assets. Tegan LaPointe, beautiful energy management, coming in at a sub 150-foot landing roll there, Ryan.
Okay, now I know that Jughead said he was going to kind of show us a gradual increase in aggressive technique.
Hunting spots. Dakota's on board. We're loaded with about 15 gallons of fuel, so not heavy but not light. We're going to make sure we smoothly touch down past the line and a controlled braking.
So this is not a competition landing. This is a demonstrative landing of what he would do in the backcountry, fully loaded with gear with his dog. So this is an attempt to land just smoothly, to not upset anything.
Caused me to balloon, go a little long.
Yep, did get a little gust there. You can see those flags starting to come alive.
And company.
A little bit of a headwind starting to coming into play, Ryan, and these conditions changing rapidly as we go throughout the day.
So what I was going to say is Jughead and Tegan are so competitive. I was going to wonder if Jughead was going to be able to stick to the plan. So like,
right?
I'm going to do one of these like standard landings if it was just me and Dakota, the dog in the seat next to him there, and he did. He managed to hold it in, but we're going to see him aggressively improve those landing distances and takeoff distances as he goes through here. Let's talk real quick as they reset. I want to talk about kind of a cool thing coming up next week. Flight Sim Expo in Las Vegas. The trailer that we are in, the USATrailersDirect.com, they provided this trailer, the broadcast booth, everything inside of it made possible by USA Trailers Direct. We're so comfortable. We were comfortable yesterday, too. It's making its way to Vegas. Like right from here, boom, down to Vegas, getting ready for next week, Flight Sim Expo, where we're going to be doing STOL. And STOL is Flight Simulation STOL, and it's a way that you can get involved in National STOL. See if it's for you on your computer, your Xbox. They're going to be doing that in person. So if you want to come compete in person at Flight Sim Expo, you can sit down at a simulator and be in a competition just like we are today, but in the virtual world. So check that out. Also, want to give a big shout out to Red Tag Art. They make art out of this really cool red tagged aviation material. So basically, stuff that can't be used anymore in airplanes. They repurpose it for art. We've had everything from candles to tables made out of turbines. Super cool. Check them out. Red Tag Art. Here's Alan Hewitt on the roll in that 1957 Cessna 172. Getting that tail down into the dirt.
Oh, he pulled a little early again. That'll cost him a little bit. You know, Shad has dialed in a little bit more on the takeoff today for some reason than Alan. That was a little bit longer than we saw him on his first run, I think. Well, maybe pretty close, actually. It was about 240 feet, I'd say. Really exciting flying today as we turn over to Shad Forrester in his 172. Two completely different tail designs. You can see this one has the more swept back tail versus Alan's the more straight tail.
I assume the swept back means it goes faster, but I don't think that's actually true. I think it just looks that way.
I don't know that it is, but it's a lot of fun to watch. Shad live in the cockpit there on the live stream. How cool is that? Pulling the elevator, being very aggressive on the takeoff roll. Shad Forrester, no stranger to being a master craftsman when it comes to flying.
Here we come now. Lance Hawk in the 170 as Shad hits up into the sky. Here's Lance ready to go in that blue 170. Wheels on the line. Best run so far, 6:06 for Lance. Currently in 5th place in this group.
Love to see the stock 170s come out and play. Such a fun airplane. These are a staple in the backcountry. They are everywhere. And it's just a testament to the great design and support for many, many years from Cessna Aircraft Company. Just pulling it off the ground, willing it into the air. So much fun to see. Now here's the grudge match we've all been looking for. Now, I'm looking at some of the numbers here on that first round, factoring in Alan Hewitt. Alan's got 382, Tegan's got 348, so about 40 feet distance there.
Right.
And Jughead's just doing exhibition. He did a 554, but I bet he's going to really lower that down. Here's Tegan LaPointe on his takeoff roll.
Tail up, tail down.
Beautiful
And she's
job.
off.
About 220 feet there-ish. Beautiful takeoff.
Tegan calls that airplane Beige Betty.
Beige Betty.
Corey Ryan, for this one, we're going to simulate we're on a bar with some bigger rocks or a softer surface. We're going to start with 20 degrees of flaps to get the wings producing lift, but we're going to make sure the tail is up off the ground, minimize drag. Bravo 5, go.
Okay, here we go. You heard it live from the cockpit. This is a softer, rough field demonstration. You got to get that tail off the ground so you don't punish your tail wheel. And then just gingerly get the airplane light on the wheels and lift it off gently. Not really trying to be aggressive when you're landing on a rough surface. You're trying to not hurt the airframe of the aircraft. So you get that airplane as light as you can on the wheels, get that tail wheel out of danger, and that's what John just demonstrated for you here in Moses Lake.
It'll be interesting to see the differences in the numbers here. And actually, there is almost no difference. 292 for that first takeoff for Jughead and 293 feet for this next takeoff. Here's Alan Hewitt now coming in right up to the line, kind of high, dropping it in. Watching that nose wheel compress under the braking action. Stopping right around maybe 190. 185.
Yeah, beautiful landing by Alan. I love to watch him force that airplane on the ground. I think he knew he had a little extra energy and he knew his braking was the most effective way to get stopped. Aerodynamic braking is not as effective as wheel braking, believe it or not.
Makes sense. Less friction. Here's Shad Forrester.
Now he's got it in a good high alpha. Look at that angle of attack. That is really exactly what you want to see. You hear his stall warning live from the cockpit. That is fantastic flying from Shad Forrester in Fort Papa.
No improvement for Alan Hewitt on his run. Let's see if there is for Shad Forrester. Best score so far, 439 for him. And we've got Lance Hawk turning base to final with the lower approach this time.
Yeah, he's got a lot of extra speed now. He's got to get that under control, get that plane slowed down. I can tell because he's not got that high alpha, that high angle of attack that you look for. There he goes, starting to settle into it. He's still a little bit. There we go.
Oh, but a
just
scratch.
shy of the line.
At least the flag matches his plane.
I think he was in too much of a transitory period. I think he needed to give himself a little bit more time there to settle into that angle of attack so that he's comfortable there and able to just dump the power and force that stall over the line. And so as these pilots get more and more experienced, you'll see that happen, whereas Tegan really, really likes to get into that high alpha pocket. Now watch as she brings the aircraft in. A master craftsman at the controls here. Look at that rudder. Look at that elevator. Tegan working very hard to get this aircraft over the line. Deep, deep in the alpha. Too deep even.
Oh, but too short. Working that rudder like aggressively. Lots of inputs there. But
so
coming up
much
short.
fun to watch. You know, you can You could see, I saw the smile on Tegan's face as the braking action occurred. Now here's Jughead. Now he's going to demonstrate a high, like an approach over a 50-foot obstacle. So imagine 100 feet short of the line.
The bar.
Yep, so he's coming in nice and high. That's going to bode well for the length of his landing because you'll notice his wheels and landing gear will absorb a lot of that impact. Here you go. Beautiful landing over an obstacle. A fantastic demonstration of what you would see in the backcountry if you needed to clear some trees or some brush.
Bravo flight back taxi.
So I like this little clinic that John, Jughead of Council, is putting on for us, showing us all the different ways that you could be landing on our sandbar simulated here in Moses Lake. We're having a lot of fun out here. Interestingly enough, no real change in the scores based on that run. We had everyone go longer than they did previously. Particularly, Jughead just rolled out. He didn't stop for it, so it's hard to compare. But even Shad a little bit longer on his. He was one of the few to get on the board. Alan Hewitt got on the board as well. So not a big shift from the first run. While they're taxiing back, Corey, I got another helmet for you to try on. I don't know if we have enough time for this exactly, but this one,
I got to try this one on too.
This one's got a good color to it. It's Lift Aviation helmet. They also provide helmets for our rookies. Got to get it unclipped here for you. There we go. He said it's about the same weight. I like that red color. That's not really... Whew. Yeah. Said Corey's saying good seals. Good seals.
Really good seals on the ear cups. It's very comfortable. Very, very comfortable helmet. I can't hear a thing. I don't even know if I'm talking right now.
You're talking. I can tell you're talking. Can you read what I'm saying?
No.
Can you say you're the worst pilot ever?
I'm the greatest pilot ever?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I said. Yes, that's what I said. Yeah.
I was going to say it someday.
There's, I guess you're wearing it for the run. Alan Hewitt now on the roll in a matching Cessna 172, getting that tail low. He's off and running. He was really doing an impressive job during all the wind in that 172 yesterday. Here comes Shad Forrester up to the line in the 172. Best score still 439. Shortest takeoff 214.
That is some fantastic scoring in a classic straight tail 172. Alan Hewitt putting on an absolute barn burner of a clinic. Love to see it. One of my favorite performers here at Moses Lake. Here is the next competitor and also another 172, Shad Forrester. Got that beautiful shot live from the cockpit. Watch him come up on the throttle. We saw him do that. He's got his right hand down on the flap handle. Watch those control surfaces. He'll go flaps first, elevator second. Boom, done. In the air. Beautiful performance there from Lance, or excuse me, Shad.
And I could hear in my ears the stall warning horn going off as he got it right up into the air, so that exactly right on the edge how he needs to be. Here's Lance Hawk in the 170.
How cool is that cockpit view? Taking it to the next level on the broadcast. What a beautiful day for an air show here in Moses Lake as we get ready to watch Lance Hawk in his bone stock Cessna 170 tearing up the skies, enjoying life. This is what airplanes are for, ladies and gentlemen, having fun.
Getting that tail up, taking a time to get sped up and pulling back. Maybe just a tad bit early, but off the ground. Love that shot there with the dust and the airplanes ascending into the sky. Here's Tegan LaPointe getting ready on the line.
Tegan currently the leader of the round of competition as we see her live in the cockpit there. Fantastic shot. Up on the power.
Look how minimal that cockpit is. There's like nothing on the panel. It's really a purpose-built aircraft for this.
Yeah, absolutely. She's just a staple here in the Pacific Northwest. You can find her just about every fly-in, just an aviation enthusiast. So much fun to be a part of National STOL. The amount of just passion and love for the sport is personified every single time you come out to one of these events. Now let's go live in the cockpit and see what Jughead's going to do for us on this takeoff.
Bravo 5, go.
He's up on the power. He's going to get that tail up. So that was more of a traditional competition style takeoff. So John's going to want to get on the board with something a little bit shorter on this round. And I just realized, Ryan, I've still got this helmet on. It's so comfortable that I actually forgot it was on.
Yeah, you've been doing the helmet. It's just, you know.
We'll take it off now. But Lift helmets, ladies and gentlemen. Check them out. Very comfortable. Love it.
So Lift Aviation, one of the sponsors that provides helmets for our pilots if they're rookies and they need them. It's also Lift helmets are up for grabs in the season. So the prize considerations provided by Lift Aviation. Here is Allen over the line, good over the line, heavy on the brakes, kicking up the dust. And Corey's going to take the Lift helmet home, he said. So sorry, no one can have the no one can have the prize this year. Two great helmet manufacturers that help support National STOL. I also want to talk about Aero LEDs, Sarasota Avionics, iFly EFB, and Legendary Aviation Coffee Company. They all provide prizes to our pilots, and we are so grateful for that. Here is Shad Forrester on short final. Stall warning going off. Holding it off. Good over the line. Heavy on those brakes. You can hear the dust working its way into the cockpit practically on that onboard. That is really great for Shad Forrester.
Absolutely fantastic landing for Shad on his final landing of the day, coming in at 165 feet, I believe. Did you actually put Shad's score in Allen's sponsor? No, okay.
And we still have just the same landings here. Here comes Lance Hawk.
Lots of energy for Lance, landing and touching down at about 150 feet. That's definitely going to cost Lance's score there. And
very graceful landing, though. It was
very smooth.
Yeah, very smooth. So, yeah, he's going to roll out now and not get a score there. And we're on board with Tegan as she comes around base to final.
Really get a good idea of the workload, what it takes to bring these aircraft in nice and short. Now, Tegan is no stranger to adverse conditions, but today is anything but. These are perfect conditions for backcountry flying. So let's watch Tegan bring it in for nice and short landing. Looking to improve her score from the first round, being very aggressive there and too aggressive.
Scratch for Tegan. Look at how much pressure she's putting on those brakes to get it stopped. You can see the head shake like,
darn it.
Darn it, I scratched.
So her first score of 348 feet will stand unless this man right here, John Jughead Council, puts in a better score. Now he's back in competition mode. He wants to get it in nice and short. So let's see what John Jughead Council does here.
Good over the line for Jughead.
A little bit longer than he normally is. Had a lot of extra energy there.
Well done. Back taxi for the last safe one in the book.
So we've got one more round we're going to do with folks here. And hearing that was more of a like a STOL drag type landing.
Coming in with a little bit of extra energy. Now, STOL drag is a little bit different because you don't have the opportunity to get set up for a good STOL landing all the time because you're racing. So you tend to land the airplane at speed and use the efficacy of the brakes to get you stopped. And that's going to be the most effective way to race an aircraft, which is a completely different thing than STOL, but it is a lot of fun.
While we are taxiing back, folks, here in Moses Lake and online, don't forget to go check out either the merch tent here at the airport. Look for the big National STOL tent, or look for the broadcast trailer. It won't be too far from there. Or go to nationalstol.com. You can pick up all the great competitive merch we have. We've got some great stuff here in the booth. Want to show you? We'll model it. Corey and I can do a little modeling.
Oh, yeah.
I am wearing the my favorite. My dad has one, too, and it's his favorite to keep him warm. My hoodie, my zip-up hoodie for National STOL. It's got, not only does it have the great crest, it's got the American flag on the sleeve there, and really great and comfortable hoodie that I wear. But also here in Moses Lake, we have the Airshow shirt with the awesome dragon and the, looks like a Cessna 170 on the, there we go. Yeah, so like I've got my hood up here. It's very comfortable and good to go. You got the shield, everything like that. And then look at Corey's rocking the shirt. And guess what? Guess what? I'm also rocking the shirt. And they cut away. There we go. I was so excited to do that, and they cut right when I did it. Take that. Here goes Alan Hewitt on the roll in the 172.
Love watching Alan perform because it really short takeoff there in these calm conditions. I just love watching him. He's consistently getting sub 250-foot takeoffs in a stock classic straight tail 172, which is mind-numbing.
Here's Shad Forrester coming up to the line in his 172. By the way, wanted to make a little mention. We mentioned all the people supporting us. Legendary Aviation Coffee. Use code STOL10, STOL10 at their website, Legendary Aviation Coffee Company, for a little cheaper coffee. Shad Forrester, full throttle. You heard the Air Boss talking to him on the radio. Look at how much shake he's got going on with the uneven surface, yanking it into the sky.
Wow, beautiful takeoff there. Very aggressive technique from Shad Forrester, really putting that airplane through the paces. Love to see that. You know, I just can't speak enough about how awesome these certified airplanes do in these STOL competitions and in the backcountry. Just so much fun to see.
Every time I come to a national STOL competition, there's a new airplane I want to buy. And watching these 3 170s, I'm like, maybe I need to do a little research on the 170. Maybe that's what it is for me. Here is Lance Hawk on the roll, kicking up some dust. Tail coming up. Still pulling a little early. Timed it better than last round, if I'm not mistaken. Feel like he got a cleaner pull that time.
Yeah, looked really, really clean there. Shad will be happy with that takeoff. Now here's Teagan lining up on the line as well. Teagan starts out in an absolutely clean configuration, and you'll notice in the rotation that both the flaps and the elevator engage at the same time. So let's watch for that moment as she accelerates. A little bit of down elevator to bring it up into the air. Perfect pull on the flaps and the elevator at the same time, thrusting the airplane into the air. And we actually did some fun testing one time. Me and the Patey brothers were down in Spanish Fork, Utah, and we actually set scales up and all sorts of measurement instruments, and we actually measured that when you dump the flaps, there is thrust vectoring that does occur to help you take off prematurely in a STOL competition. It's amazing the amount of science and physics that can go into this.
Here's Jughead on the roll. Yoke full forward, getting that tail up, pulling back, and he's off very short. His best takeoff so far was the previous one, 239. Thrust vectoring, really?
Yeah, when you dump those flaps.
Sorry, I was still thinking about that.
The air from the thrust of the propeller hits that flaps and then is vectored
Yeah, it comes down. And that's enough
and it provides
to
a
be
little buoying. Yeah, a little in
boop.
combination with the ground effect, we noticed that it does decrease. So we actually put scales on all the tires of the aircraft and then statically did this, throttled up and then played with the flaps, and we did notice the aircraft getting lighter, which means in the takeoff roll, those flaps are actually helping with lift, and that thrust is helping with the lift.
Little imitation Harrier, or I guess F-35 now action.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't get into the minutia, but in competition, you got to. If you want to win, that's what it takes.
Wanted to point out Alan Hewitt just came in with a great landing, 208 was his best takeoff yet.
Wow.
Currently in second place, 164. So finally an improvement. I think we had some conditions that maybe varied over the last couple runs. He's now still in second place with 372. Shad Forrester coming in kind of hot.
Good high angle, though. I think he's just got a slippier airframe than the other 172. 200 foot, it looks like. Beautiful landing. That is a definite improvement for Shad. He was very much close to that, but over. So he'll be happy. That is his best landing of the day so far.
His best takeoff was his first one with 214. So not besting that. So 439 is going to hold for Shad Forrester in third place today in the exhibition here at Moses Lake. Next up, Lance Hawk also looks like he's coming in pretty hot. Again, not a lot of wind over the nose.
Look at that angle of attack. Too much energy coming over the line. Still keeping it on the tail wheel. Still hasn't touched. There we go. So about 280-ish feet there for Shad, which is a little bit long, pretty close to his first one, longer than his second one. Having fun. Tegan LaPointe in the forward slip, really fast, really hot right now. Gonna have to work really hard to get this one stopped. Lots of energy for Tegan. That's gonna really increase that landing distance, but get on those brakes. Look how effective that was getting slowed down.
Yeah, and you could see she had all of the yoke pulled all the way back in the cockpit there.
Bravo, this last pass, we're going to demonstrate. If I was coming into a sandbar I haven't landed before, if I wasn't sure about how soft it was, how smooth, how big the rocks, we'll do what's called an inspection pass, fly about 30, 40 feet down it, and then on the next pass we'll come in and roll our wheels. So that's what I'm going to do on this pass. We'll come in at a nice slow speed, but still a flying speed. And I'll just gently roll the wheels down, get a feel for it. If I like it, I'll keep it airborne, come back around and land it. So here we go.
So Jughead's going to show us just dragging the wheels a little bit. Is this going to be a good place to touch down? Feels like it's going to work next time around.
Firm, not only the touchdown, but the ground surface. I like it, so we'll lift off, get airborne, come back around, make a full stop on this simulated rock bars.
Coming around for another pass. I don't know if that was more for classroom education for us or more so Jughead could just keep flying a little bit longer.
Either way, it's a win for us.
Yeah, I know, it's a win
because we get
for
to
us.
see an extra pass.
A lot of times we've got obstacles that doesn't let us have a nice straight-in approach to the landing area. So we're going to simulate that here today. We'll hook around the radar tower here at Grant County, come in on a little bit of an angled approach.
Yeah, so you'll watch as Jughead hooks around that radio tower, utilizing it as a potential obstacle in his approach.
About angle of attack, energy management.
Yep, so you'll notice he doesn't have a lot of time here to get things under control. So this will be a good demonstration of his piloting skills as everything, literally everything, will happen at the last possible moment. So he's already in his energy management mode in that turn, already in the high alpha. You're looking at that angle of attack. He is perfectly in the pocket. John Jughead Council, no stranger to his 170. Perfect landing, perfect approach, nice and short.
And when you get it stopped on the bar, you unload Dakota, you go play in the river, go chase some birds. Thanks for everybody for coming out. Jughead, on behalf of all the great competitors here, thank you to National STOL, thank you to Moses Lake Airshow, big thanks to Sport Aircraft Seats and Columbia Sportswear. We're out of here.
Thank you, John, and we heard Dakota chiming in the background as well. Love that.
I think Dakota liked the landing too, and what a great way to wrap up the exhibition here at Moses Lake. What a fun weekend. We had some aggressive conditions yesterday, some I would say some records probably for individual classes and for certainly some personal bests for a lot of pilots.
It was.
And today we had just an easy, fun flying morning of STOL flying here at Moses Lake.
It was like a Sunday morning on Father's Day even.
This is what aviation is like for me. Like when I get up in the morning, get up a little early, go have a flight, have a coffee, relax with my friends, and just get a little bit of wind under your wings. Helps you get centered for the week coming up. Let's look at the results here, Corey.
Absolutely.
Tegan LaPointe in first place with 348 feet combined. Alan Hewitt, look at that, in the 172. Combined score of 372. Shad Forrester, combined score of 439. Jughead just behind him with 485. And Lance Hawk with a combined score of 606 in that bone stock Cessna 170. That's something we didn't talk about too much today, Corey, but those three 170s, very different.
Yep.
Tegan running a lot more horsepower than Jughead. Jughead and Tegan's planes both modified. Again, they're certificated. You have to do a different process for that, but modified with wing cuffs and big tires and things like that. And then you look over at Lance's, which is literally, like you said earlier, just bone stock.
Bone stock.
So kind of a cool way to see how all those things stack up. And
not
honestly,
to mention, though, Alan Hewitt.
In
speaking
the
of bone stock
172.
Second place in a straight tail classic 172. Even has the old style pitot tube and static air thing. You know, the old big old funnel thing hanging off the side of the fuselage that you see in the classics. Just love to see the old school stuff come out and play with the modern stuff. And it's just a testament to how aviation is timeless. You know, just bring what you got, have a great time, and play here at National STOL.
Let's talk about our annual sponsors one more time. We've got iFly EFB. These are all the folks that bring the series to you nationally.
And I'm enjoying the look at that beautiful aircraft there on the ramp. We are here. This is a little bit different National STOL for us because there's actually a full-size air show here today, this afternoon here at Moses Lake, which is a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see a lot of great performers today. You're going to see the U.S. Air Force A-10 Thunderbolt demo team, the C-17 demo team. Brad Worston's here. David Koss is here. John Melby, met him last night. Tom Larkin, a friend I made last year in his mini jet. Mark Peterson. And all those great folks are going to be helping you out, having a lot of fun in the sky. Let's talk about... They probably have insurance. That's right. Ladd Gardner Aviation Insurance, one of our national sponsors. Legend Aircraft. USA Trailers Direct. Sarasota Avionics and Maintenance. FlightHelmet.com. Flying Eyes. Lift Aviation. Aero LEDs. Red Tag Art, Legendary Aviation Coffee Company. And then, of course, iFly EFB. So, yes, it takes a village of volunteers. It takes a village of sponsors, and we are so honored to have been here with you. Like I said, you got a great show here in Moses Lake coming up. In just a short bit, you're going to have the RC demonstration. RC aircraft, another great way to get into aviation and have fun with it.
So much fun to watch.
They're going to do things that are insane with these aircraft, and they're quite large. Actually, we were talking about Tom Larkin in the mini jet air show aircraft. He's not much bigger than the RC airplanes that are out here. So,
and honestly, it's so impressive, the skill that the RCers bring to the table. And we're about to see it live here in Moses Lake. On behalf of everybody here at National STOL, I'm Corey Robin.
I'm Ryan Dombrowski. We will see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks in Pennsylvania. It's going to be a rad one. See you next time.